Captain Emily Carter had flown the Apache attack helicopter for 8 years, and every single hour of it showed in the way she walked across the flight line, calm, confident, focused. Other pilots joked before missions. Emily didn't. To her, flying wasn't about ego or thrill. It was about precision, responsibility, and bringing everyone home alive. That morning began like any other. The desert sun was barely climbing over Fort Redstone Air Base as Emily stepped onto the tarmac, helmet under her arm. Her Apache, call sign Viper 1, waited at the edge of the hangar, dark and silent. Today's mission was a high-level combat readiness drill, the kind that separated average pilots from exceptional ones. She reached the access point and scanned her badge. Beep! A red light flashed. Emily frowned and tried again. Access denied. Her crew chief, Sergeant Miles, looked at her. That's weird, ma'am. That thing works better than my coffee machine. Emily tried a third time, same result. A junior officer hurried toward her, uneasy. Captain Carter, sir. Ma'am, you've been asked to report to command immediately. Command didn't ask people to report right before a drill. Command ordered. Inside the operations building, the mood was cold. Colonel Harris, the base commander, sat at the table with another officer Emily knew well, Major Reynolds. Reynolds avoided her eyes. Captain Carter, Harris said, not offering a seat, effective immediately. You are relieved from all Apache flight duties. The words didn't make sense. Sir, Emily said calmly, I'm scheduled for today's drill. My aircraft... You are grounded, Harris cut in. Your flight privileges are suspended until further notice. Emily's jaw tightened. May I ask the reason, sir? Harris slid a thin folder across the table. Failure to follow command authority during exercise Black Viper. Emily opened the folder. Inside was a report from 3 weeks earlier, a classified night simulation over mountainous terrain. She remembered it clearly, too clearly. In that exercise, Major Reynolds had ordered her to push the Apache lower into a red zone valley despite sensor warnings. Emily had refused. The terrain and simulated enemy positions made it a near-certain loss. She had diverted, within safety parameters, and completed the objective another way. The final assessment showed reduced casualties and mission success. I followed operational safety protocol, Emily said. The mission succeeded. Harris's face stayed flat. Major Reynolds states you openly disobeyed him. Emily looked at Reynolds. He stared at the table. With respect, sir, she said carefully, the command would have resulted in the loss of aircraft and personnel. Harris, close the folder. This discussion is over. You're dismissed. Just like that, 8 years of flying were reduced to silence. Word spread fast. By noon, pilots were whispering in the locker rooms. Some avoided Emily's eyes, others looked confused. 1 or 2 looked almost satisfied. In the military, reputation was everything. A grounded pilot was a broken pilot. Weeks passed. Emily was reassigned to desk work, log reviews, simulator instruction, paperwork no one wanted. She watched Apaches lift off from the runway without her, the thunder of rotors echoing in her chest like mockery. At night, she replayed the simulation in her mind, every decision, every warning tone. She knew she had chosen right, but knowing didn't seem to matter. Major Reynolds, meanwhile, continued flying. That hurt more than the ban itself. Then one morning, the base went into full alert, not for combat, but for inspection. An admiral from Washington was arriving. Uniforms were pressed. Floors were scrubbed. Officers walked like every step might be judged. High-ranking inspections were never random, and they were never meaningless. Emily was told to attend the briefing, but not speak unless addressed. The Admiral, a grey-haired man with sharp eyes, reviewed operational stats projected onto the screen. His questions were quick, precise, uncomfortable. He paused at one chart. These Apache performance metrics, he said, pointing. They dropped last quarter. Why? Harris began explaining training cycles, weather factors, rotation schedules. The Admiral nodded, then asked quietly, Where is Captain Emily Carter? The room went silent. Harris cleared his throat. Captain Carter was grounded, sir. The Admiral turned slowly. Grounded? Yes, sir, for disobeying a superior officer during an exercise. The Admiral didn't speak right away. He tapped the table once. Then he said, "Bring me her file." Emily felt her pulse begin to race. Something was about to change, and whatever it was, it wouldn't stay buried much longer. The briefing room felt smaller the moment Captain Emily Carter's file landed on the table. The Admiral opened it slowly, flipping through pages without speaking. Awards, flight hours, combat simulations, recommendation letters, not the record of someone reckless, not even close. He looked up. "Major Reynolds," he said evenly, "walk me through the exercise where Captain Carter disobeyed you." Reynolds straightened. "Yes, sir. During exercise Black Viper, I ordered Captain Carter to descend into a restricted valley to simulate close support under fire. She refused and altered the flight path without authorization." The Admiral nodded. "And the result?" Reynolds hesitated. "The mission was technically successful, sir." Silence again. The Admiral turned his attention back to the screen. "Show me the terrain data." A technician pulled it up. Steep ridgelines, limited visibility, red threat markers blinking across the valley. "Captain Carter," the Admiral said, finally looking at her directly, "what did your sensors show?" Emily stood straight. "Sir, my warning systems detected simulated man-pads and overlapping enemy firing zones. Entering the valley at the ordered altitude would have placed the aircraft inside a kill box with no escape route." The Admiral leaned back slightly. "What did Doctrine say?" Emily didn't hesitate. "Preserve the aircraft and crew if an order creates unnecessary loss, sir." Reynolds interrupted. "She made that judgment on her own authority." The Admiral raised a hand. "What altitude did you fly instead?" he asked Emily. "High threshold approach, sir. I used terrain masking from the ridge, completed target confirmation, and deployed simulated fire from standoff range." The Admiral scanned the final report. "Casualties? Minimal. 2% simulated losses," Emily said. "And had you followed the original command?" the Admiral asked. Emily swallowed once. "Simulation projected 86% losses, sir. Likely total aircraft loss." The Admiral closed the file. Then he looked directly at Reynolds. "You ordered a pilot into a killing zone," he said calmly, "then punished her for not dying on schedule." Reynolds' face drained of color. "Sir, That would be enough," the Admiral said. He turned to Colonel Harris. "Why was this not reviewed?" Harris shifted uneasily. "Sir, the Major's authority does not override doctrine," the Admiral finished, "nor reality." The room felt frozen. Then came the moment everyone would remember. The Admiral looked at Emily again and said 5 words, slowly and clearly. "She did exactly right." No one spoke. The Admiral stood. This grounding was improper. Lift it immediately. Reynolds opened his mouth, then thought better of it. The Admiral continued, his voice steady. "Captain Carter demonstrated independent judgment under pressure. That is not insubordination. That is leadership." Emily felt a wave of emotion push against her ribs, but she kept her posture firm. "There's more," the Admiral said, turning to the screen again. "This base will conduct a live readiness evaluation tomorrow morning. Captain Carter will lead it." Eyes widened around the room. Harris blinked. "Sir, she hasn't flown in weeks." The Admiral nodded. "Then she's well rested." That evening, Emily walked back onto the flight line for the first time in over a month. The sun was low, washing the hangars in orange. Light. Her Apache stood where she left it, sleek and deadly as ever. Sergeant Miles spotted her and broke into a grin. "About damn time, ma'am." Emily ran her hand along the fuselage. "Miss me?" "Like you wouldn't believe." The next morning, conditions were rough on purpose. High wind, limited visibility, layered objectives. It was the kind of evaluation designed to expose weakness. Emily climbed into the cockpit and powered up. As the rotors spun, every doubt melted away. Muscle memory took over. Calm returned. In the air, she made no mistakes. Her formations were clean, her calls were sharp. When a surprise threat appeared on radar, she adjusted without hesitation, protecting her wing aircraft and completing the objective. From the observation tower, the Admiral watched everything. When the Apache touched down, the evaluation clock stopped. The score, the highest recorded that quarter. Harris approached her. "Captain Carter, welcome back." The Admiral joined them. "One more thing," he said. "I've recommended Captain Carter for advanced command training." Emily met his eyes. "Thank you, sir." He nodded. "The Army needs pilots who can say no at the right moment." As Emily walked off the flight line, she realized something important. She hadn't just been cleared. She had been heard. And from that day on, when Captain Emily Carter made a call in the cockpit, no one ever questioned it again.